They said nothing bloomed after midnight, but that night something called to me, a soft sound, like a lullaby mixed with wind chimes. I wasn't dreaming, I was wide awake, standing in my pajamas, staring out the window into the trees behind. My grandmother's house. It wasn't my first time hearing the sound, but this time it felt different, like something wanted me to follow it. The moon hung low, round and glowing, and the shadows seemed to dance just for me. My hands trembled a little, but my feet moved on their own. What was waiting out there in the dark? I didn't know, but I wanted to find out. I had only moved to the village 2 weeks ago. My name is Ellie, and I'm 15. My parents were going through a divorce, and I was sent to live with Grandma Lily for the summer. No internet, no phone, no friends. Just books, birds, and silence. The first few days were strange. Everything was too slow. The clock ticked louder than usual. The air smelled like old wood and lemon tea. Grandma was sweet but quiet, always. Knitting or reading near the fire. I miss my friends back home, the city noise, even school. But the one thing that truly made me curious was the forest behind her house. The forest was thick with tall trees, their branches touching the sky. Every night after midnight, I would hear that soft melody, a tune with no words, but it made my heart beat faster. It was like a secret being whispered through the leaves. I asked Grandma about it once, and her eyes grew serious. That garden has been silent for years. Don't go near it, Ellie. She warned, it's not a place for the living after dark. That made it worse, of course. My curiosity burned. Brighter, why would a garden be dangerous? And what garden glows after midnight anyway? Each night I would stay up a little later, listening, waiting. The music was always the same, haunting but beautiful. I started dreaming about it silver. Flowers, glowing paths, butterflies made of light. One night, I stood by my window and whispered, "What are you?" The wind answered with a sudden gust that opened my bedroom window wide. That was it. I decided I would go. I couldn't ignore the feeling in my chest anymore. I had to know if it was real or just my imagination running wild. I waited until Grandma fell asleep. I put on my hoodie, grabbed a flashlight, and tiptoed out the back door. The forest was darker than I expected, silent and alive all at once. Every crunch under my shoes felt louder than thunder. But the music was clear, guiding me like a trail of invisible light. I walked past the old well, through the narrow path covered in moss, and there it was. A rusted iron gate covered in vines. Behind it, a soft glow shimmered like moonlight dancing on water. I stepped through the gate, and my breath caught in my throat. I wasn't ready for what I saw. A garden like something out of a dream. Flowers, in shades of silver, blue, and pale gold, bloomed across the land. Every petal glowed softly, and the trees sparkled like stars were caught in their leaves. Fireflies buzzed in slow motion. The ground felt warm beneath my feet. It was silent, but the silence was filled with wonder. The music had stopped, or maybe it had turned into the wind itself. I had found the midnight garden. I thought I was alone until I heard footsteps behind me. I turned quickly, and there he was, a boy around my age, tall and quiet, with eyes that shimmered like the garden itself. "You heard the song," he said with a small smile. "That means the garden chose you." I stared at him, speechless. "I'm Leo," he said. "I take care of this place. You live here?" I asked. He nodded. "Sort of. I come when I'm needed." His words made no sense, but I didn't care. Something about him felt safe. Leo led me through the glowing paths. "This garden only appears to people who are lost," he said. "Lost?" I asked. He nodded. "Not in the forest. In life, people who forget who they are. People who've stopped believing in themselves." Each flower, he explained, was a forgotten dream, a wish someone gave up on. If someone believes again, the flower blooms brighter, he added. I bent down and touched one. It felt like silk and stardust. So this is a magical place? I whispered. Leo smiled. It's a memory, a mirror, and sometimes a beginning. As we walked, I saw a flower with blue petals and a broken stem. That one's fading, Leo said. No one believes in it anymore. I touched it gently and thought of something I hadn't thought about in months. My dream of becoming an artist. I had stopped drawing after my parents started fighting. That's your dream, Leo whispered. The flower pulsed with light. I felt tears well up in my eyes. Why does this place feel like it knows me? I asked. Leo's smile turned soft. Because it does. Leo showed me a small pond in the center of the garden. Look into it. He said. I saw my reflection, but not the sad, quiet version of me. I saw myself laughing, painting, surrounded by friends. This is what could be, Leo said, but only if you believe it's still possible. The water shimmered and faded. Will this garden always be here? I asked. Leo shook his head. Only until you no longer need it. The words stayed in my heart like a secret. Leo and I sat beneath a silver-leaf tree that glowed softly in the moonlight. There are rules here, he said gently. The garden doesn't let just anyone in. It chooses hearts that need healing. I nodded slowly, letting the silence fill the space between us. And once someone enters, I asked, they can come back, but only at midnight, and only if they still believe. His voice was soft but firm. Doubt locks the gate. Fear dims the flowers. I looked around, the petals, the pond, the stars above us. Why me? I asked. Because your heart is still open, even when your life feels closed. He said. My chest felt warm, as if the garden was breathing with me. It was strange, but I believed him. After what felt like hours, or maybe just moments, Leo led me back to the garden's gate. It's time, he said quietly. I didn't want to leave. Will I see you again? I asked. That depends on you, he said with a playful grin. And this place lives in your belief, not in maps. As I stepped through the gate, the music returned, only softer now, like a goodbye. The forest path was glowing just enough to guide me back home. When I opened the back door and slipped inside, my flashlight turned off by itself. I looked at my hands. They smelled like flowers and dreams. That night, I didn't cry before sleeping. I closed my eyes and whispered, thank you. The next morning, the sun felt warmer. The birds sounded like music. Grandma noticed something different in me. You slept well, she said, sipping her tea. Yes, I replied, smiling without even thinking. I had the most beautiful dream. That day, I opened my sketchbook again. My fingers remembered how to draw. I painted silver petals, glowing paths, and a boy with eyes like stars. Every line brought me peace. My sadness didn't disappear, but it felt smaller, like a shadow beside a candle. At school, I spoke more. I laughed louder. I started believing in small things again, in colors, in smiles, in myself. That weekend, I stayed awake until midnight again. The music returned, faint and familiar. My heart raced. I ran outside, past the well, through the mossy path, and there it was. The garden gate shimmered in the moonlight. It opened with a soft creak, like it had missed me. Inside, the garden had changed. New flowers bloomed, golden vines climbed higher, and the air felt warmer. Leo was waiting, sitting on the pond's edge, skipping stones made of glass. You came back, he said, smiling wide. I never stopped believing, I replied. He laughed. Then the garden never stopped waiting. Each time I returned, the garden grew stronger, and so did I. I learned the names of the flowers: whisper bloom, starshade, heartroot. Leo taught me how to care for them, not with water, but with intention. Talk to them, paint near them, feel something real. He said, I brought my sketchbook every night, and soon the flowers responded, glowing brighter when I laughed, pulsing gently when I cried. It became a second home, a secret place that held the parts of me I couldn't show the world. And slowly, the pieces of my broken self began to fit together again. Not perfect, but real.